Are you thinking of selling your home without a realtor? If that's you, keep watching. In this video, I will share 4 pillars of activities that professional realtors use to get top dollar selling homes for their clients, and there will be tips in each pillar that you can follow. Hi, this is Michael Chu, 7M Realty in Silicon Valley. If this is your first time ever, make sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. We share tips and tricks on buying and selling houses and everything in between. Preparation. Pillar 2, massive marketing. Pillar 3, working with buyer agent. And Pillar 4, from contract to close. And each pillar is a necessary part for the whole process. Since home selling is really a full-time job, you need to have time for this selling process and some good knowledge and experience. I'm here to help you with the knowledge and experience part, but the time will need to be from you, the seller. So let's start with pillar number 1, preparation. So tip number 1, basically, there are 5 D's of preparations. The first one is disassociate. So there is a mindset of selling, and when you're starting to sell your home, you need to think of your home as almost like somebody else's, maybe an objective mindset, because we human, we tend to associate many of our past memories that we had at the house, happy memories and maybe others, and we feel very personalized with this thinking, and because of that, we tend to not be objective enough to actually get the home sold successfully. So the number 2D actually is depersonalize. So within the home, you want to basically depersonalize all the showings. So let's say your family photo, your sports club, memorabilia, anything that is tying you as a person to the home probably should be removed and before shown to possible buyers, because again, one of the main things that buyers look for is when they come in, they want to see themselves in the house so that they could visually thinking that they live in the space, and therefore wanting to put in an offer for it, for the house. So the number 3D is actually decluttering and organize. We tend to collect many items in the home, and I'm certainly guilty of that. Over the years, we just have so many things that are not so useful, but just never got rid of them. And so when you're selling your home, this is a great opportunity to go through all the possessions you have in the house and start organizing them into 3 piles. For instance, number 1 is something you'll never use and you will not carry on. So these type of things, you can either throw them away or basically give away to somebody else, maybe Salvation Army, maybe the charity store. So this is the other D that comes into play, which is dispose, and you want to do as much of this as possible and organize other stuff into things that you would like to take with you, and in that way you start boxing them up and putting them into storage and stuff. So one of the last D after disposing the things that you don't need is to decorate. And we're talking about staging and making the house really shine. So the decorate involves, for instance, getting all the countertop, the decluttering step. You take everything away from the counter, kitchen counter, bathroom counter. You put them into a nice little basket. When you need to use, you take them out. After use, you put them into the cabinet. So that way, your countertop everywhere is going to look decluttered, very clean. Just keep in mind the less of the item, both in terms of furniture and stuff that is on the counter and in the um, on the floor, anywhere in the house. The less you have, the easier it is to sell, because buyer will have an easier time visually owning the property and feel like they could really place themselves in there and imagining that they're living in there. So this 5 Ds, I will go back again. And number one is disassociate. You have to have that mindset of objectivity. And then depersonalize, remove everything that kind of says it's you. So you want to depersonalize. And then the D is declutter and organize. You want to get everything down to the drawer. And if they come in, open up the closet, open up the drawer, things needs to be neat and kind of minimalist in that sense. And then, of course, at that point, you need to dispose a lot of things that you're not using, you'll never use again. It's just, they're collecting dust, and it's been there the longest time. And then you want to do the last D, which is decorate. Make sure house looks really good. Maybe a fresh coat of paint, staging, whatever to get it looking really good. So the tip number 2, because of all these activities you do want to perhaps rent a storage space and put all the extra furnitures, all the boxes that you prepared to move on to the next stage, and keep them in the storage, and perhaps not even in your garage. You don't want too many things in there and kind of turn the buyer off. Just kind of bite the bullet and go rent a storage place and get yourself into that state of just cleaning out the house, getting ready for the move to the next stage. So that's tip number 2. Get a rental storage space and prepare your home that way. And then number 3, this may be a smaller tip, but oftentimes in home purchase, it comes up time and time. So let's say you have some fixture that you intend to take with you, but you have not removed it, and then you're showing it to the buyer. This is probably not a very good idea, because buyer gets attached to whatever they see that they feel like is part of the house. So let's say that chandelier that passed down from your grandma, and you really want to take it with you to your next place. Before you show the house to buyer, these items should be removed and stored away so that you are not really showing this. And once you're showing it to buyer, they will assume that that is part of the purchase. So anything like that, just remove it before the showing. Tip number 4. Once you get the house ready and things removed, furniture out, decluttered, and all that stuff, tip number 4 is right here you need to spend some money again. You want to take professional looking photos and videos, because nowadays buyer, the first thing they do is they go online and they look for properties to shop for. So here, if you have like some images that you just taken over the iPhone and stuff like that, but they're not very professional, your photo collage will not come across to be very professional. So one thing that you can think back is, let's say you're looking for like an Airbnb somewhere that you're traveling to. The first thing you do is you look at the title photo and the bunch of photos in that area that you're targeting, And you will start there, and if it looks good, you start looking at, oh, what's the pricing and whatnot, or vice versa. It could be the first thing is pricing, and the second thing is how good does it look. So these two things are very key, very central to selling your home. So professional photo and videography is a must in the day and age at this point. So tip number 5 is also, this is where typically when you have a realtor helping you making the sale, this is the area that realtors will really shine, which is help you set the price right for your home. You only get one chance, so you really need to price it right. You want to maximize your return, but you don't want it to be so high that you're scaring away the potential buyers. So price needs to be high enough for your own purpose, but low enough to attract many of the interest. So it's kind of like a miniskirt. You want to be long enough to cover the subject, meaning your own price requirement, but you want to be short enough or low enough to be interesting for buyers to look at your home. So pricing is a key component of your preparation, and usually you will need to basically look for minimum of between 3 to 10 comps or comparable sales in your area within, let's say, a half-mile radius that happened within last 3 months, maybe up to 6 months. And you want to have that available as information reference point, and also know what the conditions are for those homes to price yours right. But let's assume that you do have access to all that data, you do price it right. The next step is pillar number 2, which is the massive marketing effort that you will actually need. So tip number 6, find all the available free sites, whether it's Zillow, Craigslist, or anything that you name it, whatever you can get your hands on to. You want to take all of your property information and all that good photo and video and put on everything possible. But usually this is also another area where the individual seller may not match the realtor's resources, which is you will need to have access to MLS. So by all means, tip number 7, get on MLS. Even if you have to pay a list-only broker, you do want to get on MLS, because buyers rely on MLS and buyer's agent rely on MLS to find property. If you don't have your presence on MLS, you are basically disservicing yourself. You don't have enough exposure for the home to actually attract the buyer's attention, and therefore generating that offer or even multiple offer in that case. So along the same line, tip number 8 is to pay to advertise. So let's say on Zillow, if you can pay and advertise, if you're on Facebook, you can pay and advertise. Think about all the sites that you have access or could have access to in addition to MLS. You want to advertise your home so that people will see and actually generate interest and come and check out your property and eventually make that offer. So again, pillar number 2 is of critical importance. You have to spend some money in order to generate that interest, in order to create the eyeballs that's looking at your property, and that's how you generate a high offer and successfully selling your home. Now, pillar number 3, after you've done all these marketing, it is to work with buyer's agent. Now, I understand buyer's agent will want some commission. So, your purpose is really to save on commission, but it is not wise to skip to skip agent or realtor on both sides. The transaction just have so many moving components, it will fall apart. So if you are skipping the realtor on the selling end or on listing end already, you want an agent on the buyer end so that there will be some coherence to making it happen. So by all means, in your listing, do include compensation to buyer's agent. Depending on area, sometimes it's 3%, or it could be 2.5%, it could be 2%. But if you don't include anything, and there's no buyer interest in showing your home or finding your home, you're really, again, doing the disservice to yourself in terms of marketing and bringing possible buyers into viewing your home. So, tip number 9 is to make sure that on your listing, you do include some percentage of commission for buyer's agent, because buyer's agent, in this case, they will be able to basically help you pre-qualify the buyers. So it's not just random people coming in, kicking the tire, and they want to lowball on your offer because they say, oh, you're not paying commission, and therefore I'm going to lower the market price by commission amount. So basically, whatever that you were trying to save at that point, the buyer just lowballs, and you lose all the edge that you have by trying to go for sell by owner. So long story, but anyway, do choose to have buyer's agent represent buyer. Now, tip number 10 is related to the buyer's agent. Here, you want to actually have qualified buyers coming in to talk to you or actually present offer to you. And here's the thing. If you don't have that buyer agent, for you yourself to know which buyers are qualified, even though we are looking at having buyers present offers through the agent with pre-qualification letter of loan and also proof of funds. But even at that, if you are lucky enough to get all these offers lined up, are you able to discern and actually rank the offers to your best advantage? So these are some of the things that if you had a listing agent on your side, will be able to help you decipher these things, and also what are the risks involved in accepting offer from a certain type of buyer. So tip 9, tip 10, basically the buyer's agent, qualifying buyer, and also in terms of comparing offer, negotiation, and another thing that I should mention in here is when you, as a seller, look at a offer, the first offer usually could be the best one. So not in such a rush to turn down or reject that offer. It will always be in your best interest to somehow kind of stretch that out and see if there's other offer coming in. So even for that purpose alone, you probably want to do some kind of counter offer with the dates extended so that you can wait for other offers to come in. And if there is no other offer that comes in, at least you have one that you're entertaining, and perhaps even through counter offer to somewhat better that for your purpose. So that's another tip or advice is definitely consider counter offer instead of rejecting an offer, because for a feasible situation, many times the offer don't come in as often or quickly as one being hosted by a listing agent. Okay, so pillar number 4 really is to look at from, let's say you're lucky enough there's one contract that went into were signed, offer signed by you. So you're in contract. So from the contract to closing, it's a very long way to finish it off. And this may relate to like from the beginning of preparation. You actually want to hire somebody who's knowledgeable on your side, maybe like a real estate attorney, somebody who can advise you and also provide you with all the updated disclosure forms and all the contracts that you need. So buyers actually in California, there's a 2-year period where buyers, if they feel that they have not been disclosed on everything that they needed to know, they have the right to sue the seller. So here to protect yourself, you really need to have, number one, all the current forms and things that you basically going through legalities and signing. And so the important thing really is to disclose everything and allow the buyer to do as many of the inspections, roof inspection. Allow the buyers enough of these inspections, and also disclose everything that you know about the house. And there's a whole slew of other, like natural hazardous, fire, all sorts of advisories that you will need to have them prepared, or you yourself need to be prepared to provide to the buyer. So again, it is not a trivial thing, even if you are in contract, to actually bring it to close. And let alone that there are other issues related to buyers performing on their end. So whether they meet all the contingencies and things like that. So anyway, it's long story short, there's just a lot of things that could go wrong, and it is not trivial to take from the contract to close stage. But let's say you're lucky enough that you are almost bringing to that point of close, then congratulations. You actually really done this well enough. But let's say, on the other hand, after all of these effort, and for some reason or the other, you did not get an offer that was signed by you, accepted, or it got into contract, but for some reason it fell apart, and house went back onto market. So here's my bonus tip. If your home is back on market and it actually is much longer than the normal days on market, let's say it's 3 times or more than the normal days on market, as a for sale by owner seller, you may be wondering whether the price is too high and you want to drop the price. But at that point, please don't. This is actually the great time to engage consulting with an experienced realtor before you actually lower the selling price. Because once you lower the selling price, it is very difficult to come back up. And you don't want to be jumping up and down on the price, and buyers will smell that and they will go even lower on the price. They will feel like there's something wrong with the house, and it's very difficult to rectify that situation. So your bonus tip is to consult with an experienced realtor, and perhaps it could be pointed out at that point that maybe it's the marketing that's lacking rather than the price not being right. So that may be your saving grace at that point. So here you have it. These are all the tips for selling with yourself rather than a realtor. And I hope the information is helpful to you. And if selling the house seems daunting, actually it is. I wish you well in the endeavor, and remember to reach out if you still have questions and concerns after this video. Also, those who have gone the FSBO route, I would love to hear from you as to how it turned out. Whether it's great, it's a piece of cake, and I just want to recommend to everybody doing it him or herself, or perhaps it was not really worth the time and hassle. Either way, I'd love to hear your comments, and anyone could find this useful, just share and forward this video to those people. And also comment and subscribe, and thanks, and check out my other videos that is on the end page. Thank you very much.